early, even before our phenomenal feature, Kathleen Shanmeyer. This is going to be featuring this evening, so we're going to start doing open mic stuff because everybody always shows up last minute and they're like, but I want to read. So I was going to actually start by reading some things from other people because I happen to be running magazines and books, so we do collection books, including the After the Apocalypse Date book, which is a really handy thing to have around because you can just go, what is up for this week? So I was going to read a few pieces. This is, well, we'll see how this goes. I don't know if I should do this one first, but I'm going to. This is Andrew H. Ulrich. This is The Poet. His words enter your words' black pupil periods, converting your outlook into insights. In an age in which truth is a popularity contest, pulled inside one's peer group, we're a setup for the wimpy king's success instead of the poets. Rabbi Jesus Christ, superstar Robin Hood, who gives back more than he heists. He's Mars's ideal without the devil of a religion called politics, dressed in good intentions, is diabolical disgust. Disguise that guiles the gullible for all it's worth and gives us a license that's hardly poetic, even though it's kinetic enough to blow up the world. Thank you. I know, I'm just trying to find pieces here. Oh, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going from back from stuff. This one, although it's in a guy's voice, I think it's an interesting one. This is from John Rachel, and this is a prose piece called Climbing Mount Fuji. I was climbing Mount Fuji when, seemingly out of nowhere, appeared a beautiful geisha. She didn't speak, but beckoned me to follow her, and I did. She led me back to a small but very charming palace. She took me to her private chambers, turned her back to me, and unhooked one clasp that held her entire kimono in place. When it fell to the floor, a butterfly emerged and flew out the window. I followed its flight. It grew and grew in size until the entire sky was darkness with the expanse of its wings. Temperatures dropped and clouds boiled in the heavens, an ominous warning that storms which would destroy the earth would soon arrive. Suddenly, the enormous bulk of Godzilla rose over the skyline of Tokyo. He had a huge fly swatter in his hand. With one mighty muscular swipe, he smashed the butterfly and the entrails splattered as far as Vladivostok. I returned to the trail, but was extremely hungry. So instead of climbing the rest of the climb of Mount Fuji, I went back to base camp and ate a light but satisfying meal of tofu and rice. I know it's a weird stuff that I'm pulling up here, and I don't know. Maybe I will. No, I'm not going to save it because, well, yeah, why not? Kenneth DiMaggio, you're awesome, and you happen to be in this, and I tried to find, I'm like, do I have something short enough from you to put in this thing? So, Kenneth DiMaggio has a poem from the Netherworld Notebook, Release. Neon and chrome landscape that baptized you in its Kool-Aid and rainbow-colored abyss on the television, and then damned you to the minimum wage cash register that teased you like a casino slot machine. Cain, you must have had an epiphany similar to yours before he left the fields for the crime that would release him from the bondage of heaven. Hannah, thank you. And thank you. I'm going to leave it at those three. 3. I had one piece that I'm saving to read of my own that I'm going to wait until it's toward feature time to call up before Kathleen Schandelmeyer-Bartels. All right, I know there's not many of us, but give it up for Kathleen. Oh, yeah. I know she has never talked to you or anything, but yeah. I am looking forward to this feature, I really am. And for anybody, whether or not they've got a soda or a beer or I don't know, your heroin needles, as long as they don't catch it. There's a great little stand here that you can put that on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call up our first, and you're so double plus awesome, Joffrey. So please, give it up for Joffrey Stewart. Come on up here, Miss I'll get all my stuff on
Hello. I guess I'll read 2. Last Monday at Weeds was supposed to be Neruda night. And this poem tells you how I failed Neruda night. The title is Homage. Pablo, a Czech-named poet who may have visited Pilsen in the Bohemian precincts where he took his nom de plume, but never breathed the pollution of the Fisk power plant, and chose to die right when Kissinger chose what is called democracy, chose it to die right when a Stewart, newsreeling the coup, and therefore not on camera, reeled into focus the gunman, energized by the American taxpayer, to show his face to the camera as he shot his picture taker. I suppose this Stewart is no relation, but the name easier to remember than was the Neruda I should have remembered to look up after listening to an Indian, a recovered heroin addict, aiming for the vice president of El Norte and trying to rediscover his Palestinianized roots in the caves of Mexico. So let these come lately lines do as the title suggests. The title of this one is Law and Orders Remorselessly Offending. That just gets it started. In 2 parts. 1, getting ready to send a tax-diffusing thought to the South Chicago ABC zine distro, I realized with a bit of hyphenating creativity, it can become the South Chicago ABC zines destroyers of the prison system, which we all hope to do. 2, the transgressions of law and orders are enormous. 10,000 innocents a year convicted on felony charges, according to NBC, which makes law and orders the remorseless felon, the remorseless offender, and making it impossible for the blameless releasee on release to be an ex-offender, an impossibility constituting 20 to 50% of prison population in this most freedom-denying country in the world as reckoned by comparisons. Nothing new for an entity where 1 out of 4 was slave. At Calvary, 1 out of 3 was innocent as charged, had no real chance to be misnamed an ex-offender, although some claim stigmata to the contrary. And 1 guilty of violence got away, which demonstrates the character of the Jewish religion unto this day. A Judaism, Karl Marx, good atheist that he was, said should be abolished, owing to the license it gives to owning Jewish banksters, reviled by 20 prophets of old and 1 since, who cleansed the temple, as the Christians say, but never do. The innocent nail, to demonstrate the character of law enforcement, which of course he wrecked where the woman walked. That makes 21 in agreement with Luke 6:35. Viola Spolin spoke of Marx as the last of the Christ cycle. And so the count catches 22, since Marx condemned Jewish banker as the biggest threat to human freedom for our time, dying 2 years before the Guggenheims invested in killing 1 million Congolese a year for 20 years for rubber and ivory. Marx seems not to have mentioned the slave trade if he had to, but Shakespeare gave us Shylock. Goodman, linguistically at Northwestern, uprooted language to tell the tale. Third World Press finds Jews predominant from the end of the 17th century. And Tony Martin at Wellesley knows how Jews owe blacks reparations. But we should not lose ourselves in accreting examples or questionable solutions which need the system, but lose ourselves non-violently destroying the system.
Very cool. Thank you very much. That's the way to start an evening. No, well, what do you say? I'm a host. I'm like, what do you say? And I'm just going to say to you, I'm holding my precious bag for our feature. I'm just taunting you with it. I am not going to start rotating around for you to cluck for our feature yet. I want to wait for her to show up first because we're all starting off nice and early. But I thought before our next open mic or Annabelle Echo, I would read 1 poem from this issue of Down the Dirt, which is out right now. I just love this cow. I love this cow on the cover. But June 1st will be when the next issues are released of cc&d and Down the Dirt. So I've got 2 weeks of here, but this is probably the last time you're going to see this lovely cow face on the cover of Down the Dirt, volume 116. This is a piece called Drawing a Fox by Michael D. Brown. Begin with a triangle for a face. Collar, the fox stole with the circumference of a woman's neck. Tired eyes, 2 perfect drops of blood. Design the eyes to dart. Lateral movements, side to side. How clever, how clever. Thank you, Michael D. Brown. I know, I picked really, really short ones. Thank you, Michael. Thank thank you, down in the dirt, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and if anybody wants to know about submitting stuff to cc&d or Down in the Dirt magazine, because the next one that's going to be out for them is the major issue, which is out in June 1st. And by the way, that issue for cc&d is going to be the 20-year anniversary issue. I'm sorry, that excites me like you wouldn't believe. So, but if you wanted to know about submitting stuff, come and bug me for an email address. But in the meantime, there's some hot woman over there dressed in black, wearing these awesome clothes from a place where I used to work. So, the Anna Maleko, my love, give it up for Anna Maleko!
Oh, okay. Okay. Actually, it's navy blue, and what's weird.
Isn't it?
No, but
Oh, your shirt's navy blue, the pants are black.
No, everything is a different shade of navy blue, which is so annoying. There is no one shade of navy blue, so I can't match the way with my obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah, but then it looks like you've layered navy blue, so you look awesome for it. So.
But thank you.
Do you want me to turn that so you can...
No, I'll just take one and okay. Just when I'm okay. Okay. This will make no sense at all, especially since I'm not very good at maths.
I like no sense.
Yeah,
What?
okay. Yeah,
Is this a math club?
I had one good math teacher, Miss Lavington, who turned into Mrs. Rice later. That's what I said.
She got married.
No, she got okay. Tilting at windmills. A Judge, David Windmiller poem. I specialize in 115 different fields. I was the cook for Chemtron electrodes. I made super metals. The coefficient of expansion explains why in 1988 I wrote the math interface on all metals. I proved that. All metal is plastic. All glass is plastic. All plastic is plastic. My background is very unique. If you do enough research on me, you know that I was grown in a cloud chamber of argon.
Yay! Argon! Woohoo!
Okay, this is where the math part
No!
Okay.
Which is confusing because argon is an element and then there's Argon National Laboratories. Were you referring to the element argon?
No.
I'm not really sure.
That's how she explained it.
Was argon a location?
I think if you take the NE off, you got the off.
Yeah.
Okay, remember I specialize in 115 fields. So a field is a commutative ring which contains a
Multiplicative.
Yeah, inverse for every non-zero element. Commonly used fields are the field of real numbers, the field of complex numbers, and the field of rational numbers.
I mean my rational numbers.
To avoid confusion, there are also finite fields and fields of functions. Any field may be used as the scalar for a vector space. Every field is a ring, but not every ring is a field. Polynomials with coefficients in a field lead to impossibility proofs. Algebraic structures with notions of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division satisfy. Okay, now here's,
Come on, Anna!
Lindsay Williams Pastor Poems. Okay, everyone, please have a pencil and paper ready. Did you catch that? Folks, please, it's not going to happen. Folks, the elite know what they are doing. Everything has already been decided behind closed doors. This is super powerful. 30 years ago, Mr. X began to leak this intel only once a year. Please, everyone in the listening audience, I beg of you to listen to my concern. May I say that we must take immediate action. America as we know it today is doomed. You have a time frame right now, a window of opportunity right now this minute. You are going to find it amazing. By the end of 2012, the dollar will be dead. First of all, I mean 2013, sorry. Okay. First of all, do not pay any attention to the New York stock market. It means nothing. It is not an indicator of anything. I did not say the dollar would be non-existent. And you need to understand this. And again, please have that pencil and paper handy and write these things down. Put them beside your calendar. 12 steps to prepare. Now the first thing on my list, I beg you, you must prepare for the inevitable plunge protection team. Secondly, you need cash. Mark my words, you need to make preparations. Next, 401ks. Oh my goodness. You notice I'm not the youngest gal in the world. I've been told when the dust has settled, you positively must have a roof over your head. The name of the game is control. I have been saying this for 35 years. Did you catch that? We are live. There is no future.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Did you want to read? Hello, I think I see my feature.
Well, if you run out of
If we might call you back up, if that's what, if we'll do something like that, give it up for
They're all happy and excited because our phenomenal features just showed up. Because that's what we get. We're like, we're gonna have to start things early.
Sorry.
That's okay, because that's what everybody does. Like, I'm running, I work, and I eat, and the kids, and the train, and the, so I know. And so I was like, well, we might as well start it early when we're here, and things will fill up, and then it'll be like, I'm so busy, I can't do anything. So I thought I would read one piece from cc&d magazine. This is a cover with a really cool cover from Eric Bonholzer, who did the cover for this one. I really like that cover. But and this is the last of the 19 years. The next issue, which will be out, the May June issue, which will be out June 1st, will be the 20-year anniversary issue.
Wow!
I know! It's crazy cool! Which is why from Scars Publications, so I've got my Scars shirt on. But I figured I'd read one from here, and this is called One of the Carts. I haven't read this one. One of the Carts. While working here, I've cleaned rotten fruit out of shopping carts stacked together in the front of the store for new customers to use. And just the other day, I saw something in one of the carts, so I went over to pick it up and throw it away. When I got to the cart, I saw it was a folded, used diaper in the cart.
Oh, no.
So I had to pick up a stranger's used diaper and throw it away. Just today, I walked by the carts and saw a folded used diaper sitting on top of one of the carts. And after I passed it, I thought, some customer is going to have to deal with that diaper if I don't throw it away. So I picked it up and threw it out, and Like the other diaper I had to deal with after throwing the used diaper in the trash, I grabbed a wet sanitary cloth as quickly as I could to scour my fingers and hands and arms. People actually leave their feces like this for someone else to clean up. Just recently, 2 carts were stuck together. You know, how the carts have straps like seatbelts to hold babies in place. Well, while these carts were stacked together at the front of the store, someone apparently decided to tie straps from 2 different carts together into a secure knot. So someone wanted a cart, and I stood there trying to untangle the knot, and they asked me, "Why do people do that?" And like reflex, I said, "People are mean," while I try to make everything right again. Short story things, just getting that out of the way. I know, it's cc&d. And that's the thing with cc&d, at least you get all these like weird things thrown in there. So, and that's really an inappropriate way, because I should have said weird thing before Annabelle, because we get the weird stuff from her, but we get the ultra groovy cool stuff from our next open micer. Oh, the man who warms my heart. Please give it up for Mr. Patrick Harley. Patrick, come on up there.
And your reading glasses.
Glasses.
Would you like your beer? Because you have a stand now. And I can put it there for you.
No, that's all right. Oh, yes, that's very nice. Although with reading glasses, that's out of focus now. So I'm going to read from the first book that I published way back in the Wayback Machine.
And I'm going to bring your beer up for you.
It's called 100 Haiku for Lucille, with other selected poems inspired by a moment in time. And what I'll do is do 10 haiku in one poem. Well, every 10th one or something. Lips raised in half smile, what light you see beyond fear. In this light is love. So many lost dreams pushed away by evil fear, fighting hard to be. Not to kiss goodbye, not to know parting sorrow, is belief in love. A sliver of moon, bright in the crisp morning sky, autumn lay ahead. All that I have done was done with a need to give, love trapped for so long. Release the pressure in slow, steady, managed truths, hiding not from fear. Apologies made, resolution was too late to avoid the fear. You offered advice. You could not listen to me. I was behind you. The dinner was not the thing that drove you away. Well then, what was it? Love on the first night. It was shared with tenderness. Was it illusion? 100 haiku. I sit down and write for you. The patience of love. Yet we dreamed of life. Yet we dream, and reality becomes the dream. Our desires trapped by a fear of waking. To learn the illusion of love was wrapped within projected rainbows, tender moments, gentle kisses, awkward handholds, a bad dinner. The fear of waking, finding whom we dreamed, left with that illusion. And dreaming won't bring us back to those blue-green forests, bring us back to that solitude, bring us back to divine solidarity, bring us back to the dream of tender moments. Yet, we dreamed, we dreamt. We held life and death. We held the passage. We held the vision, the dream in solitude, the necessary tears of divine unification, the pain of blank death within the void. Then, on waking, throwing off the coins, facing the illusion we dreamed, facing the voyage with canvas full and stretched, rudder firm in hand, we traverse Styx, rising above the static fluid nature to hold us back. We place the dream before us. We place the dreamer inside, before us. We weave it through our soul with the loom of time, the threads of experience. We follow its lead.
You're so awesome. And I love the fact that your pieces were like
A bunch of Twitter-length poems. which is honestly the only reason why I originally started a Twitter account, because I wanted to be able to come up with something of 140 characters or fewer. And that worked really well. And I was like, one of them was awesome. Well, that's a Twitter-length poem. I should actually get that, because if you had any interest in submitting something Twitter-length, even if it was from your early book and not from the one that was pull tabs and things you stick your fingers in, which is my favorite title. It's just a cool title.
Then you should remember it.
Which is, but then you just ran from one to the next. You didn't say this is the title and this is the title, which is what I usually do. And you just went
tabs and other things to stick your fingers through.
No, I'm talking about the one poem that I don't remember which one it was, because.
Oh, that's in full tabs.
Well, no, it was in your first book that you were reading where there which wasn't pull tabs. All right, fine. We'll figure that out later. But I figured before I got my ultra sexy sidekick that I was going to read a poem from cc&d magazine, and actually it is a photograph by John Necco on the page of Zach, which is adorable cat and the sidelight and everything. But this is a poem by Dan Fitzgerald in the March-April issue of cc&d V242. This is Dan Fitzgerald's Asking Too Much. It is not hope this night wants, just a simple wish of no fear. The dark brings much more than a need for sleep. Silent death, disappearing friends, a home lost to unseen dreams. Is there a world existing that allows for eyes to close for the entire passage of the moon? To open and see a dawn with no more surprises than a rising sun? That cannot be too much to ask. I know I'm picking mellow pieces, Dan Fitzgerald. Thank you. Sorry, I like to be really, really quiet. And I'm holding this bag because even though we're a mellow crowd, this woman that's going to be our feature this evening, Kathleen Shanmeyers, give it up for her! The Beach Queen! And I never know, because I live on Facebook and I don't know what the schedule is for anything, so I don't know when I can read there. It makes me sad. But I've got my handy wine bag because it seemed fitting that our feature tonight should have all of our money shoved into a wine bag, because I want everybody to put their life savings in. No, I'm dead serious. So put in a ton of money, and I'm gonna make my sidekick do that too. So please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the bouncer himself, Bob Brashdown. Come on up here. Yay! And gotta put the money in, and then
All right. I know that you're all just waiting with bated breath for my new poem, Bean Envy, but a certain stupid person forgot to bring the notebook that contains it, so we'll just wait a couple of weeks to hear it, I guess. Or read it at the next venue I go to, whichever comes first. Meanwhile, I did find a few buried treasures in the backseat of my car. So I'll read two by me and then I'll read one by David Trinidad. This is from Chicago Calling, I believe 2008, in response to Tony Renner's pictures of Baltimore, and it's called Halt, Who Goes There? I make a detour. Halt, who goes there? I make a detour of a shortcut and catch a glimpse of something rumbling slowly through the barren weeds. At first, I think an anteater, or maybe a raccoon. Then its head bobs, swells, revealing form of person, in denim clad, treading opposite direction, taking his sweet time, compassing north, moving nowhere, definitive, fading finally beyond my sight. Yeah, that one's over, okay. This one is inspired by my youngest sister Debbie's tape recorder ravings circa 1968, 69, and 70. All I can see is a dream. That's how dark it is in here, but my crystal ball is glowing. In it, your eyes speak poems and pink butterflies, racing blue streaks of taffy-colored pucks flying across a crisp white sprinkle, crimson banners waving greetings, welcoming new spring with calls and yells, silvery yellow beaming shiny, crystal, your mind aloft, a light, your eyes the sunbeams of my dark, dark path. I can see I will make it. I am here now, cuddled and bundled in warmth. Good night. Good night.
Ooh, nice.
Another Chicago Magazine's, thank you. Another Chicago Magazine's 50th issue. It's by David Trinidad. And it is called Poem Written with My Nemesis Looking Over My Shoulder. You who would judge everything I say and how I say it, this is what I see right now. Earl Grey tea, too hot to sip, in pink Fiesta ware cup to my left. Pile of unfolded laundry, mostly towels and socks, to my right. Arctic Chicago light casting through glass bricks, prismatic shadows, like water inside a swimming pool on the wall of my coach house. You would love to harness that light for your black magic, filter it through your pitiless gaze as through a magnifying glass, and set fire to this page. The little plastic magnifying glass I once got as a Cracker Jack prize. You hate the details of my life, present and past. The silly putty I used to lift color off of comic strips. The fly I trapped forever at summer camp in Clear Reason in an ice cube tray. The books I read by flashlight hid under my mattress. What I loved most I had to hide. You cast your life in a harsh spotlight on a bare stage. There's no redemption there, and nothing is right-sized. Your mother looms, a giant ghost, a great inflictor of pain. You cower before her, so small and yet willing in her absence to take on both roles, victim and tormentor fixed in their addiction as in a translucent cube. The light has moved up the wall, reached the ceiling. For a moment, I'm submerged in one of the blue swimming pools of my youth. Then, the red jam on this muffin, the brown sugar and cinnamon sprinkled on this oatmeal. Thanks.
That was David Trinidad.
I didn't get to adequately applaud. You're awesome, Joe.
Before calling up excellent, cool people like Joffrey or Annabelle or John or Patrick, I thought I would read a small piece of prose that I thought was appropriate for our fraternal feature. I don't know why I thought it was appropriate, but it did. This is a piece of prose in the back of the current issue of Down the Dirt, V116. And he's got this awesome cow and the cover. See, it's self-portraiture. Sorry, I'm sorry. This is a piece called Tanya's Story. Tanya's middle name is Marie, and her sister's name Tasha, Anna, Negran. She likes her sister's name, but I told her that her name was nice too. This is a story Tanya made up for me at Logan Beach Cafe while we were eating nachos and salsa. Tanya is 9, going on 10. This is a story about summer. Phil was riding his bike. Phil is my brother. How old is Phil? Phil is 17, going on 18 years old. So he was riding his bike to the park, and it was sunny, and Jojo, he's my other brother, he shot a bow and arrow at Phil's tires. And he hit the other brother. He shot the bow and arrow and hit his tires. Phil got mad. Phil got over it, but he hit his arm then, and he was okay then. So since Phil was mad, he ran after Jojo, and then he caught up to him, and he threw him on the ground. They started fighting, and my sister, Tasha, came over and told them to stop, but they didn't stop, and so she called my dad. Dad came over with his belt. Oh, that's my addition to the story, sorry. It's really a Mexican belt. What's the difference between a Mexican belt and a belt, say, not from Mexico? I'm asking too many questions. It's really big, and I got hit once with it. Ouch, I thought. My addition again, sorry. Oh, wait, she had to go to get a drink. She was thirsty. Making up this story is really hard work. Okay, she's coming back now. So, what's the end of this story? What happened? My brother Joe had a black eye. Phil gave it to him, and Dad came along and he hit them, and they both stopped fighting then. Okay, so we got the good guy, bad guy thing covered, and so as an action scene, there's a resolution, but most stories usually have a moral. So what's the moral of the story? Not to fight? Tanya's story. We have all sorts of weird stuff on that. So, and now for something completely different, as you would hear somebody in the UK say, please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Joffrey. Joffrey, come on up. The worst segue was this piece to whatever Joffrey's going to say. I'm sorry. I was thinking for Kathleen, right?
Yeah, well, it'll be brief. The title is At the Circus. The racist hypocrisy in a statue of liberty who turns her back on the Anishinaabe comes from the history as of Rome's antiquity, where sport fans, their taxes paid, and privilege made by slavery, watch Nazarenics feed the ravenous kitty.
Oh, sure, that's sweet. Oh my gosh, the variety of blood was awesome.
I don't have any very, very short, angry things to do as a segue between. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to give it up for my short, and I will question her anger. Give it up for Annabelle Echo. Annabelle, come on up here. Oh, come on. Yeah, all right.
So
we know.
this is will be on YouTube so I can review it.
Of course. The plan. Oh, and by the way, normally I record. I might as well do this announcement. Normally I record the open mic as a separate thing that would go for a podcast, but ellipses. Starting this week, well, it'll be up on YouTube. You're okay. It just won't be a podcast right away necessarily because. Through the end of June, we've got weekly things going on, including next week with GPA, the Poetic Unsung. You indeed. So yes, these open mics will be up online they might not necessarily be a podcast, at least until it's like totally dead or something, and there's nothing going on for a week and I have to put it up. So now you know it's up. It'll be up on a YouTube
And the
thing.
podcast I can put on my Wi-Fi radio link.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
sure.
So what's it under, Janet?
If you want to know anything about the podcast, oh, she's giving me all the questions, is that you go to www.chaoticarts.org,
Okay.
seemed fitting, /the cafe, because we were originally at the cafe, now we're at the cafe gallery, blah, blah, blah. And you can go to that, and there's links directly to info about podcasts, or there is even a directory of past podcast things, so.
I'm gonna try to get it on my Wi-Fi radio.
Oh, awesome. So, yay, and look it up, awesome. Yay! Okay.
Did I do this one already? No. After the election, a Lindsay Williams pastor poem. I contacted my elite friends. The only way I know to describe the reply I got is the most startling thing that any person has ever heard. I was given 10 agendas that we can expect to face in the next 4 years' time. It took me 3 hours and 29 minutes to explain this. I have all 10 of the agendas in front of me. I will do the best I can today. You are going to hear some expressions today that you've never heard before. I'm going to give you some buzzwords. Watch them happen. Secondly, please understand these words. I hope you're hearing these words. I was horrified. You are hearing all this Tommy rot. Don't pay an ounce of attention to it, and I'm going to give you the details. I have been given a formula so that you can know when the dollar is going to collapse. That's right, you heard me correctly. I have the formula right here before me exactly as it was given to me. Again, the limit is going to be suspended. Mark my words. As a result of this, you are going to see some very unusual things happen. Did you hear me say this is not going to take place instantaneously? If you give me enough time, I'm going to prove to you that the dollar is already dead. I am going to give you the exact words. The rush to the exits is about to start. The dollar is dead. The chickens just haven't come home to roost. It's going to be massive chaos. There are many factors here I've got to cover. I hope you caught that. Folks, you've got to know the intricate details. It will curl your toenails. People, you positively must know the solution to all of this.
Positively.
See,
That was awesome. And now I have to deal with cameras and I don't know what's going on. He's doing work and I don't know how to turn this one on. But hi, I like to waste time walking around.
Hello, and thank you. And I have no idea who had this little stand here, and they even had a coaster for a beer, but it is the awesomest thing ever.
It goes for piano.
And I would like to thank my next door maker for letting me wear this hat. Is that one on, John?
No.
But in the interim, I thought I would try to do one for memory because he told me I should do this one. Because the love of my life said, this would be a good one to do it, so I'm going to try to pull this off from memory. This, the first time John ever heard this poem, he's like, I don't understand. Or he looks at it on the page, he's like, I don't understand this thing with poetry or whatever. What is the thing for meanings?
I couldn't understand why Lisa Hamminger thought it was such a
why she thought it was such a hot poem, I guess you could say.
A hot poem?
Sensual poem.
Apparently, Lisa Heminger thought that New to Chicago was a sensual poem. That wasn't what I was going, well, I was going for that, but I wasn't trying to turn Lisa Heminger on, but that just, I don't know, that happens with me and her, I don't know. This is a poem I wrote called New to Chicago. I'm still new to this city. I know, I've lived here for years, but I haven't gone to the Sears Tower Observatory since my junior prom. But every time I walk by what I call the First Chicago building, this building that has long parabolic pillars curving up toward the sky, every time I walk by that First Chicago building, I have to walk up along one of those pillars, press my body against the cold concrete, feel that cold against my chin, my breasts, my thighs. I look up at that curve. I could see something come racing down that pillar toward me, a matchbox car, a race car, a marble, a bowling ball, a 2-ton weight. I see the speed, the power, and it almost makes me afraid to look up. But every time I walk by that First Chicago building, I do the same thing. I do this little ritual, and it feels like the first time. And now, because I have a Steelers hat, please give it up for a man who is worthy of no explanation. Give it up for Patrick Hurley!
I stole it.
So from 100 Haiku for One Evening with Someone Loved and Other Poems, the second book that I published. I'll do the same thing, only this time when I read the haiku, I'll actually say the number. So Janet knows that it's a different piece each time. 1. Chill in autumn breeze. Eyes pronounce the coming cold. Lonely winter's dawn. 10. Behind the shadow, we saw beneath the disguise and found only truth. 20. If I were to ask what it is you feel for me, would you call it love? 30. Through all of your years, there was something you longed for. Release came with love. 40. 2 wine glasses held. Your tired, sleepy, dry eyes. Was the glass half full? 50. Moving forward with resolute direction and purpose for new life. 60. Letting your hair down. The evening was soon over, and the bed was far. 70. It was not to be. Intimate love shared one night. It was not with me. 80. Did you hold regret when, enveloped by morning, you saw where you were? 90. The CD playing was everything but the girl. It played all night long. 100. 100 haiku for just one evening with you. It was my pleasure. I see you now, smiling. It is dark, but I see you now, smiling, as you did before, when we were happy, when times were happier. It is this smile that moves me forward in the dark, a reflection or recollection of joy that prompts emotions we shared and learned about together, exposing the fear that dwells in the corners, finding the insight to overcome and move to the center. Thank you.
Very, very cool. Thank you very much.
I'm actually going to end this open mic by reading a poem that I want to read for our feature to close out the open mic before we take a break, before our phenomenal, we're not loud enough, before our phenomenal feature from Kathleen. Come on. I have to be louder, and I decided, I wanted to read something, and I thought that I would read something that was appropriate because Scars Publications started up cc&d. This is the proof copy, which means it's not released yet, but this is the proof copy of the 20-year anniversary issue, which is why there's a globe on it and everything, and it's very exciting to me. And I'm going to read one of the things from here because I was going to read for it things like cc&d or Scars. But I wasn't going to read the original one. I was going to read Scars, 1997. I wear my scars like badges. These deep marks show through from under my skin like war paint on an Apache chief. Their decorations leave me painted with feathers, the skin of prey. I have a scar over my left knee. I fell over, a bout of poison ivy I had after climbing a mountainside. The 4-inch long slice curves around, almost perfectly defining the muscles in my thigh. I have a scar on my right shin. I slipped on a patch of rocks and cut the lower half of my leg and filled it with gravel and dirt. Joe poured hydrogen peroxide on my leg and wrapped it up in my wounds with paper towels before the cuts, so the cuts would be okay because they were so widespread. An hour later, I was on my way home so I could tend to my wounds in greater detail, tend to my wounds in depth. Now all that's left is a 2-inch line down the side of my leg. Although it wasn't a very deep cut, it looks like it went straight to the bone. I have a circular scar on my left calf. I can ID that one for you. I have a circular scar on my left calf from getting off a motorcycle and sliding my leg over the scalding hot exhaust pipe. It has been several years since I gained that scar, and with each year I see it fade away just a little, but I can still see it. But the memory is slowly slipping away. My cat scratched me on my wrist once. We had to give her medication. Cats don't like taking pills or having ointment dabbed on or liquid poured over their open wounds. So when giving her pills, you'd have to grab her paws, pull her head back by the nape of her neck, pry her jaws wide open so that the pill would just fall back and that she'd be forced to swallow it. But sometimes she'd move too much and the paws would slip out of my grasp. And now, over the bone on my left wrist, a long, thin scar stares at me defiantly. I tell people that if they wake up with bruises and cuts they don't remember, then they must have had fun the night before. But each marking, each scar is a story, is a memory. It is a way of remembering how you lived. And it is with these scars that I gauge my living. It is with these scars that I feel decorated.